She's thinking about you right now. Her eyes might be fixed on a screen, her fingers still, but her mind is on you, the man she stopped replying to, the one she left on read, the one she didn't follow up with, though she's checked her phone more times than she'd ever admit. She replays your conversations in her mind. She watches your stories, silently. She observes your life from a distance, not because she doesn't care, but because she does, more than she knows how to handle. She misses you, but she won't say it, not because you're undeserving, but because of what she's been taught. Pride has become her armor, and your silence her test. This message is for the man who's grown tired of chasing approval, for the one who's done with mixed signals, cold shoulders, and emotional seesaw. If that's you, stay, because by the end, you won't see her silence the same way again. You've been misled about love, about women, and about what true strength in a man looks like. You were told to be emotionally available, expressive, vulnerable, until you became disposable. You were taught to pursue, to prove your love through effort. But effort without respect isn't love. It's self-abandonment. Chasing someone who's drifting away isn't strength. It's fear in disguise. You're not here to mold yourself around her moods. You're here to reclaim your position as a man with direction, composure, and a level of self-respect that no silent treatment can shake. So let's talk about what's really going on beneath her distance. When a woman starts to withdraw, her replies get slower, her warmth fades, and her presence feels distant. Your instinct may tell you she's losing interest, that there's someone else, that you messed up, but often the truth is far more complex. It's not that she doesn't care. Sometimes it's because she does, deeply, and that scares her, because to feel something real means to risk. And for many women, risking emotionally means giving power to a man, and that's something society has trained her to resist. So, her fear becomes silence. Her silence becomes your confusion. She goes quiet not because you're forgotten, but because she can't stop thinking about you. She replays the last conversation, overanalyzes every word you said, wonders if she showed too much or not enough, but still she won't reach out. Not because she's done, but because her pride is louder than her longing, because she's thinking, if he cared, he'd reach out. And at the same time, she's silently hoping you do. That's the inner tug of war. Emotion on one side, ego on the other, both pulling, neither surrendering. You have to see beyond the surface. Yes, women are emotional, but many are incredibly strategic with those emotions. She could be lying in bed, phone in hand, your name lighting up her screen. She starts to type, "Hey," backspace, "I miss you," delete, nothing gets sent. She tosses the phone aside, not angry at you, but at herself, frustrated that she wants to be the one to break the silence, that she wants to reach out. But in her mind, doing so would mean losing. So instead, she posts that glowing selfie. She shares a quote about independence. She goes out with friends and makes sure the world sees. It's not for them. It's for you. She wants you to notice, to wonder, to care. She wants to appear unaffected, while quietly hoping you're affected. Behind a mask of indifference is a woman watching, waiting, and hoping. She hopes you feel her absence, the same way she feels yours. And here's what every man must understand. This isn't weakness. It's wiring. It's centuries of emotional conditioning telling her that if she reaches out first, she'll lose something. She's been taught a woman who chases is abandoned. A woman who shows too much will be taken for granted. So even when her heart wants to reach out, her fear silences her. Not because you're not valuable, but because she's trying to protect the image of strength she believes she must uphold. She'll do everything to look unbothered. But the more effort she puts into that mask, the more bothered she actually is. And that's what most men overlook. You start trying to decode her. Was that post about me? Is she angry? Has she moved on? But what you should be doing is nothing, not reacting, not chasing, not decoding, just observing. Because your stillness does more to shift the dynamic than any message ever could. The more you resist the urge to fix, the more your presence echoes in her mind. She doesn't miss you when you chase. She misses you when you disappear. She doesn't think about you when you're trying to get her attention. She thinks about you when you're quiet, yet clearly doing just fine. And here's the truth she'll never say out loud. She might lie to herself before she ever admits the truth to you. She'll tell her friends she doesn't care. She'll scroll through your profile, look at your name in her inbox, pick up her phone, and put it down again. That's the truth. That's her silence speaking louder than any words. And the deeper your impact on her, the more she resists it. Not because you mean less, but because you mean more. You become someone who unsettles her ego, someone whose silence makes her question herself. So when she pulls away, don't chase, don't panic, don't decode every detail. Just stand firm, because often the coldest woman is the one battling the strongest emotions. And every man who understands this knows, the more you respect yourself in silence, the more respect you earn from her in the long run. Her emotions speak in silence. Your masculinity speaks in self-control. What's really happening inside her? It's not logic. It's not clarity. It's a tug of war between ego and emotion. And you as a man aren't even part of that battle. You're simply the trigger. You see the distance. You feel unwanted, discarded, even. But inside her, there's chaos. Her emotions want to reach out to message you, to say, I miss you. I hate the silence. I wish we could talk. But her ego, the defense mechanism, shuts it all down. Her ego says, if you text him first, you lose. If you show care, you're weak. If you're vulnerable, he'll pull away. She's not weighing how much you mean to her. She's measuring how much control she'd lose if she showed it. So she stays silent, even when it hurts, even when the feeling is real. And the irony, the more she cares, the more her ego resists. Because to care is to risk, and to risk is to hand you power. So what does she do? She tests your silence with her own. She watches, calculates, waits. Every day you don't reach out, she feels it. Every moment you don't fold, she reconsiders. But she won't show it. Instead, she'll double down on performance, post more, smile bigger, flirt louder. Not because she's over you, but because she's terrified she no longer holds the power. And here's the part most men get wrong. When you chase her in this phase, you don't win her heart. You feed her ego. You validate her strategy. You reinforce the belief that emotional control works. And when you do that, she pulls away even more. Not because she's cruel, but because your pursuit confirms her dominance. She doesn't see your effort as love. She sees it as emotional submission. But if you hold steady, if you remain grounded, calm, and composed, something shifts. Her emotional wall starts to crack. Not because you manipulated her, but because you didn't let her manipulate you. Your emotional discipline becomes a mirror, and suddenly, she sees her own uncertainty reflected back. She needs to know if you still care. She needs to feel that she didn't ruin everything. And that's when it happens. The random message. Hey, how have you been? Did you see that thing I posted? These aren't accidents. These are white flags. Signals from a battlefield where her ego is no longer strong enough to carry the silence. But this moment only arrives if you remain grounded, not emotional, not reactive, not chasing closure through long paragraphs or frustration. You must let her face the storm within herself, without becoming collateral damage. You are not a pawn in her internal war. You are the observer, not passive but unshaken, not indifferent but unfazed. That's stoicism in relationships. It's not pretending you don't care. It's caring deeply about your own self-worth, enough to never let someone else's emotional chaos control your behavior. And here's the part most men don't learn early enough. Women respect the men they cannot control emotionally. You might worry your silence will make her forget you, but the truth is, your silence makes her feel you, because silence echoes louder than words, especially when she's used to men folding, apologizing, chasing. Your calmness disrupts the script. She expected you to panic, to pursue, to prove. Instead, you gave her space. And now she has to live with the consequences of her silence. She becomes the one who must act, not because you manipulated her, but because you respected yourself more than you desired her attention. The battlefield is real, but most men never see it. They fall into the trap, over-explaining, over-apologizing, overextending, because they were trained to chase, trained to earn love, trained to prove themselves worthy. She, on the other hand, was taught the opposite, that if she stays silent, he'll try harder, that if he stops chasing, he never cared. It's not her fault. This script was handed to her by movies, songs, TV shows, and social media. If he wants you, he'll never stop proving it. Make him work for it. Don't text first. So she lives by that script, believing that the more silent she is, the more powerful she becomes, that if she withholds affection long enough, The right man will break. But here's the part she was never taught. When a man consistently chases someone who gives him less and less, he doesn't look romantic. He starts to look replaceable. And when a man starts looking replaceable, respect begins to die. Not because she's heartless, but because something deep in her psychology sees boundless effort met with indifference as weakness. And weakness in a man, it doesn't evoke love. It triggers discomfort, sometimes even disgust. Not because she's cruel, but because she senses instability. She senses that you need her more than you value yourself. You were taught to prove, to overextend, to be available, to win her back. You thought you were being loving, but in her eyes, it made you disposable. And that hurts, but it's a truth worth hearing, because the world gave you a blueprint for love that only works when both people are emotionally mature. But in today's dating landscape, where attention is currency and validation is a game, that old school sincerity becomes a losing hand. She doesn't want more effort. She wants to feel the absence of your presence, to miss you, to question herself, to realize what she had by feeling its loss. She wants to feel your value, not through how available you are, but through the discipline you show when it isn't reciprocated. Because every time you chase her silence, you send a message. My self-worth is negotiable. And once she senses that, she knows all she has to do is pull away, and you'll come closer. Ignore you, and you'll try harder. Withhold, and you'll bend. This doesn't just destroy attraction. It strips you of your identity as a man. You're not here to audition for love. You're not here to perform for approval. A man who knows his value doesn't chase validation. He doesn't plead to be seen. He walks away from what disrespects him and never looks back. And here's the truth. The woman who's truly right for you will never make you chase her through indifference. She'll show up. She'll reciprocate. She'll make it easy to love her. If she doesn't, then every message you send after her silence isn't love, it's self-betrayal. So when she goes quiet, and you feel the urge to just check in, to remind her you exist, to stay on her radar, understand what's happening. You are being tested. She's trying to see, how deep does your self-respect go? And if you break that silence just to feel seen, you fail, not because she hates you, but because now she knows. She can control your behavior through absence. And women never fall in love with men they can control. They admire the ones they can't. So hold your frame, stay composed, stay grounded. Let her sit in the space she created. Let her miss you without interruption, because that's what flips the script. That's what makes her rethink everything. That's what turns silence into curiosity, curiosity into guilt, and guilt into effort. Be the man who doesn't chase. Be the man who leads, who grows, who rises. If this message resonated, share it. Support this channel, not just for yourself, but for every man on the edge of breaking himself just to be noticed. Subscribe for weekly strategies, insights, and truths to help you become untouchable in love, in life, and in your own mind. You want clarity? Start here and never look back.